Your Daily 180, 180 seconds of pure Bible study.
What is the providence of God? How can we be sure that the providence of God is working in our lives? Hello friends, thank you for joining us on another Your Daily 180 Bible study. The providence of God can be cloudy to perceive at times. Those who believe in God want to see His hand in everything around them, in the formation and carrying out of their lives. However, the perception of God's help and guidance is not always readily apparent. I want you to consider for a moment Joseph and the journey that he undertook on his way to becoming second in command only to Pharaoh. Upon revealing himself to his brothers after many years, Joseph had a very unique perspective regarding his life up to that point. He attributed his direction to the will of God, that it was God's plan that he was where he was. But God did not reveal that to him. God did not tell him, Joseph, this is my plan for you. What Joseph was able to see was that God had taken care of him. Throughout all the evils and all the troubles that had befallen, God was there for Joseph. And so this led Joseph to say in Genesis 50 and in verse 20, he said, "But as for you," talking to his brothers, "you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." When it comes to the providence of God, the best that we can surmise is maybe. The Apostle Paul, even though he was an inspired man, he still was not afraid to admit that he did not know every working of God in the affairs of men. In the letter he wrote to Philemon, when speaking of Onesimus, he said, "For perhaps he departed for a while for this purpose." He said, perhaps he did, maybe he did, I don't know for sure, but it's very possible. Knowledge of what pleases God and faith will allow one to look back and presume to see God's providence. We can look back and we can see that God's hand seemed to be in this because I believe and I have faith that God is going to take care of me. Nations are able to do the same. It cannot be denied that God is active within nations. In Psalm 22 and verse 28, "For the kingdom is the Lord's, and He rules over the nations." Friends, God is in control. He will always be in control. His hand will always be working around us. Join us tomorrow for another Your Daily 180 Bible study.